I first got involved in this project when I was sent the script. I was sent the script by my agents, and I said, "This sounds amazing. I'd love to chat with the director about it." So spoke to Tom Gormican and to his co-writer Kevin, and they just kind of sold it to me, and it just seemed like it was going to be really good fun. It seemed like it would be really a real escapist load of fun, and I think every so often you got to do jobs just for that reason. Hilarious comedy caper. There you go. Well, I think the most memorable day on set was my first day on set, because I'd never met Nick Cage before. I'd met him in the Zoom read through, which was absolutely bonkers and amazing. He wore a pink leather jacket and knew every single line. He learned his entire part, and we were all like, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, he's doing a full performance. And so that was amazing. But turning up on set on my first day, I'd met, Pedro Pascal before, and I'd met Paco Leon, and, Lily Sheen is going to play my daughter. But I was just basically suddenly in an action thriller movie. Tiffany Haddish was dead on the floor, and I run in, and there's Nick Cage, and we sort out this chat, and we spoke about the read through, because that's the only time he saw me, was in one of those little Zoom boxes as well. And then it was like, okay, let's go and jump in the back of a Jeep. So yeah, that was a sort of a baptism of fire, I guess. I was extremely familiar with Nicolas Cage's body of work because I'm a ginormous fan. So which was, another one of the reasons why I said yes, I'd like to do this job. Wild at Heart is one of my all-time favorite films. Adaptation as well is one of my all-time favorites. I love him. I love the big action movies like Con Air and Face Off, and I love the beautiful crazy performances like in Moonstruck. But I just think he's an incredible actor, and he's so funny, and yeah, I could watch him all day. I did watch him all day for 7 weeks, so that was lucky. When Tom and I, Tom the director and I initially spoke, it was it was just for him to sort of say, look, you tell me what you think. Can we play around with this part? Because if you think we can, then let's just do it. And he was just extremely relaxed and extremely ambitious for it, and he sort of convinced me that it was going to be great, and as it turns out, he was right. But yeah, it was very I was very happy for us to mess around. I'd have to say not a lot of the messing around stayed in, but he filmed it all. So that was that was fun. Oh, well, I didn't get to go to all of the places. I was filming in Budapest, and yeah, it was amazing. It was my first time there, and I got to know the city by running around it, and sort of doing a bit of touristing. But no, it was so the rest of the shoot was in Croatia, but I wasn't in that chunk of it. That was like Pedro and Paco and that gang. I enjoyed drinking martinis with Pedro Pascal. That was my favorite bit. I think audiences are, having not been really back to the cinema for a good couple of years, are just desperate for a bit of escapism. And I know I am. I know when I, look up what sort of what's on, I'm like, I just really want to be taken away somewhere else, and also to laugh. And I think that's what this film does. It really makes you laugh. It's completely meta, and it's got heart and soul as well. So that's an extra bonus.
Well, I was a huge fan of his, like massive fan, and like everyone actually on the film, it was something that was discussed a lot. You know what our favorite Nick Cage performance was, and as soon as I read the script, I loved it. I mean, it's a brilliantly funny, completely original, singular idea. And but I mean, knowing that it was going to be with him, you know, I mean, I've watched his films multiple times over the years, and even during filming, because I felt like, you know, I'm playing his ex-wife, and I wanted to make sure I hadn't, you know, kind of forgotten the impact of them, you know. So even while we were filming, I watched Adaptation again. And then like came in the next day, and I was like saying to Pedro, you know, should I tell him? Is it going to seem weird that I've been watching him in my hotel room? But anyway, I told him, and I think he was happy. Tom, you know, the director, and Kevin, who Tom wrote the script with, wanted to talk to me about this character, and so I was a bit, you know, I was like confused that they just wanted me to do it, and I thought there has to be some kind of catch. But there wasn't. They just, I think they'd seen a show that I'd done, and you know, I suppose they wanted someone who could believably have been married to Nick. And I don't know, I just had this, they called me up and we had this conversation, and while I was having the phone conversation, I thought, you know, I have to make sure I don't lose myself this job over this phone call, because they seem to be offering it to me. Well, Olivia is, I mean, I don't know that she's hugely different from me outside of, you know, the fact that she's been married to Nick Cage. It was kind of like a balance of, you know, she's someone who's had to deal with being married to this version of Nicolas Cage. It's not Nicolas Cage, it's a version of him. And so it was like not wanting her to be... Also, it's different playing an ex-wife to a wife, you know, because she's one step removed. Like, she's able to love him and also, you know, still find him incredibly frustrating, but taking the sort of relationship out of it, and the fact that they're, you know, mum and dad to this girl they both obviously adore, but he still, like, drives her nuts. So it was just like trying to find a balance of not making her too... you know, angry all the time or worn out by him. Our daughter, Addie, is played by Lily Sheen, and she's just an absolute doll. And it's very hard to not feel parental towards her. You know, I'm sure Nick could say the same thing. It was something that sort of brought us together, like our love for this girl, and you know, we both felt protective of Lily as well, because it's her first job. It's her first ever acting job, and that was a nice kind of thing that kind of brought the fictional family together. I think it's been wonderful. I mean, watching him work is you know, it's a ride and a half. He's like, sometimes he's so into the character that you can't sort of get through, and I get it, and I understand it, and I really respect it. And then sometimes when he'll allow himself to sort of laugh or be a bit silly, it's kind of gorgeous, you know, because you're like, you kind of grab those moments. No, he's exceptionally professional and an incredible, like, you know, he's never less than 100%. Even when the camera's not on him, like even more so when the camera's not on him, he just wants to make sure that you're giving the best performance, and he'll, you know, he never lets it sort of, he'll never sort of drop it a bit because he thinks, oh, it's not on me now. He's really, really generous in that way. I have a scene where he plays the piano and he embodies Elvis. That was the most Nick Cage thing I've seen Nick Cage do. And a really obscure Elvis as well. So I'd be interested to see what people make of that. I mean, it's just complete escapism. And I think that's obviously really needed at the moment. I think if you get the sort of comedy, thriller, caper, adventure thing right, it's the best fun you can have in the cinema. Obviously Nick Cage, obviously Pedro Pascal, who's ridiculously funny in it. Like, you know, I've never seen him do comedy before, and I mean, every day I embarrassingly would collapse laughing and ruin takes because, no joke, every time I filmed with him. So they'll love seeing him, and I don't know. It just seems it's a ridiculous, funny, fantastical, over the top, fun, joyous, ridiculous film.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.